Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, everyone on the NFL YouTube Prognosticator site on Facebook, the sports groups on Facebook, and everywhere else around the world. It is the dear UG here, and Mr. Johnny B. Good. Say hello, Johnny.
I lost all faith in my lead.
Well, at least your Ravens are still making the playoffs. And of course we do have Fire Ninja in here, but as you guys know, he does not watch football, so he probably would just be telling us to shut the hell up.
No, because I was forced to participate before.
When did we force you to participate? You did that. We were just going to ignore you, but you wanted to, you know, say some things.
No, I didn't want to say anything.
No, but by the way, you do have a birthday shout out to do today. Happy birthday to Dark Knight. It is his birthday today. So happy birthday to him. Alright, since I don't have to sing this week, thank God, we're finally back to not having to sing, at least for 1 week. So thank you so much for that. So today's quick recap. Of course, we're going to be talking about the best and worst from this past week, the games that we want to concentrate on. The Pro Bowl selections were announced earlier this week, and of course Jacksonville firing you know who. But before that, let's go over what happened this past week. On Thursday, the Ravens beat the Jets. My Cowboys beat the Rams, getting their first win over a 500 team. Thank goodness for that. Patriots beat the Bengals in what was a Buccaneers beat the Lions. Packers beat the Bears, eliminating the Bears from the playoffs. Titans lost to the Texans. Chiefs beat the Broncos in the snow. Dolphins lost to the Giants, giving Eli Manning a nice home send-off. Eagles barely got by the Redskins. Seahawks beat the Panthers. Raiders blew a fourth quarter lead, and we're going to talk about that later. Browns proved why they're in a decade of stupidity, losing to the Cardinals. Vikings beat the Bolts. 49ers lost a heartbreaker to the Falcons. Bills beat the Steelers, and the Saints destroyed the Colts on Monday. So I went 11-5 this past week. For the season, I'm 100. Yeah, you got destroyed this week. For the season, I'm 142-83-1. Johnny, what's your season record?
They got back to 8 games.
Yeah, you got fucked this week. There's no doubt about that.
Well, hey, look at us. We're the Eagles. We can score last minute touchdown against the Redskins. We're good.
Yeah, you kind of, a lot of the losses, I think, were mostly because some of those games were kind of, you know, interesting. So we do have a lot of football news to go over, but we'll go over that later. But let's talk about some of the games from this past week in greater more detail. We may as well start with the Eagles-Redskins game. That looks like the Eagles should not have won that game. They, to me, got lucky to win that one. If you think about it, this is the second game in a row where they were lucky to win, because they were losing to the Giants on Monday night not too long ago, badly. And then they somehow get it together to win in the end. And same here again as well. They really didn't play well the first half, but then in the fourth quarter they somehow get it together to win the game.
Yeah, I thought the Redskins were actually going to win. I mean, I was just so pissed. Because the Redskins defense was doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I agree. That was a very disappointing defensive performance. Texans and Titans, that was a very good matchup. That we could actually see the Texans win the division this weekend. But Bucks and Lions, I want to talk about that real quick. Lions have announced earlier this week they will be keeping their head coach and GM through next season. So we'll see how that goes. Not all of it's their fault this year, you know, with Matthew Stafford having injuries and all that. But the Buccaneers, they could go 9-7 to be a team that we're talking about next year. And if the Vikings and Rams lose the next 2 games and Buccaneers went out, Buccaneers, I believe, could steal a division spot. I mean, not a division, a wild card spot, if they run the table. I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately, but because I think they'll lose in week 17, but they could even lose this weekend as well. Johnny, how do you feel about the Bucks right now? Are you surprised that they have a chance to run the table?
Not really. I feel like most of the Bucks teams have been really declining over the. Let's talk about one game in particular.
Alright, I'm sure it's one. I'm sure. What game would that be?
Colts at 6.
I was surprised you wanted to talk about that one because the only thing I want to mention is Colts didn't show up like I figured.
What the fuck happened to them?
Well, I said it in the preseason, and everyone said I was insane. I said the Colts were not going to make the playoffs because their luck's gone, and they proved me to be correct because their defense didn't show up. The offense was lacking. By the way, congratulations to Drew Brees on right now holding the record for most touchdown passes in a career.
The Colts just died.
Yeah,
I mean, they were like 5-2 on their way to a playoff spot, but then they lose to Miami. Everyone just collapsed.
Yep, which, by the way, the Colts are eliminated from the hunt. Two other games I do want to talk about real quick. Raiders and Jacksonville. Wow.
And the fans were just booing them. I mean, it is totally justified.
I don't blame them because the Raiders were leading that whole game, almost the entire game, excluding for the last minute. They let Jacksonville come back and win. Now, a lot of people want to blame the offense, and I can't blame the offense on this one. I have to blame the defense for not doing their job, stopping Jacksonville. And I gotta blame the Raiders kicker because he missed the first one, but he got a chance to redo it because the Jaguars jumped off sides. So you had a chance. You were given 5 extra yards in a retry, and you still missed it. I will say this, I do say congratulations to Jacksonville because no one saw that happening. As far as for the Raider fans, I'm sorry that the last game in Oakland Stadium, where they play in Oakland, is a loss. And now they're just 2 away games and then off to Las Vegas. The only other catastrophe I want to talk about is the 49ers and Falcons game. Oh boy. You know, I know a lot of... Oh no, I need to go on this one because a lot of people need to eat some crow here. You know, a lot of 49er fans were making fun of the Saints a few weeks ago when they lost to Atlanta. How do you like it now for San Francisco? Because you blew that game. Your defense let you down. I will say Atlanta played great that game. I think a lot of people would disagree, but I think Atlanta did a good job. They played well. I think they're playing for their head coach's job. I think we talked about that last week.
In the long run.
And we're going to be talking more about it because this loss actually hurt San Francisco because now, depending what happens with Green Bay, Seattle, the Saints, San Francisco is either going to be the 1 seed, the 2 seed, or the 5th seed. Could possibly the 3rd seed depending what happens. Well, no, because they beat the Saints and Packers, so they would be 1, 2, or...
I'm the only one that thinks that touchdown should never happen, the second one.
You are, I mean, a lot of people, I know a lot of people said it shouldn't have counted because his body didn't break the plane, the ball did, but the rule stated as long as the ball breaks the plane, it's a touchdown. I think because even if the ball breaks the plane an inch, it's a touchdown, and the rule is now granted. A lot of people say I'm nuts here. I think they're going to rewrite that rule, and before somebody says no, they won't. Let's remember we just had a rule changed because of pass interference from last year. So I wouldn't be surprised if they update the rules. That's what the NFL loves to do. Update the rules to piss us off even more. So yeah, there's that. Now to the best and worst of this week. Best team of this week. I would love to give it to Baltimore or the Cowboys, but I got to give it to the Texans here because now they're in control of their own destiny. They can win the division this week if they win and beat the Texans. If the Texans win this week and the Titans lose, Texans win the division. So that's going to be interesting. So I think the best team was Houston because they got the job done. Johnny, who's your best team of this week?
I'll give props to the Cowboys.
Because they pretty much obliterated the Rams and pretty much cost the Rams their playoff chance as well. So there's that. Worst team of this week. Oh God, there's only 2 I can think of, and I'm going to say it's a tie. It's Raiders and 49ers. They were both equally bad. And I can say it after this reason. Both teams were leading. All you had to do was play defense for like a minute, and neither one of them could do it. It's like, hey, we're going to play defense for 59 minutes for the game, and then when the last minute happens, we're going to die. Johnny, who's your worst team of this week?
I have to go with the Colts. They played the worst defensive performance I think I've ever seen in a long time.
I
I
agree.
want to check out Drew Brees' stat line real quick, so I'm gonna
Go right ahead.
bring that up real quick.
I do know he did set some records this week. Feel good
Yeah.
moment of the week has to be Eli Manning getting what would most likely be his last home win in Giants Stadium. That was kind of a feel good moment. He got a standing ovation. Even I applauded, and we know I'm a Cowboys fan through and through, but I respect Eli Manning. He has done a lot of good things, and
Drew Brees only had one completion the entire game.
yeah, I know Drew Brees did do that. He was probably the best quarterback of this week. Only other thing I can say, to be honest, and this is probably just most head-scratching moment for me personally, is Cleveland. Because Cleveland had a chance to, at least, even if they weren't going to make the playoffs, at least have the first winning season in a long time. But guess what? Because of them losing to Arizona, Cleveland will be the only team this decade to not have a winning season. Let that sink in there. That's pretty sad, isn't it? Because that means every other team in the NFL has had at least one winning season. That's hilarious to me.
Tampa Bay had the winning record in 2017 or 2016.
Yeah, and one more bit of note as well for the Buffalo Bills. Not only did they clinch a playoff spot, this was the first time they beat Pittsburgh since the 90s, and the first time they've made the playoffs since the late 90s, early 2000s as well. So congratulations to them. Now we get to some news of the NFL. As I said earlier, the Pro Bowl rosters were announced. The biggest surprise, the Ravens actually had 12 selections. They were the most in the league, followed by the Saints with 7 and the Chiefs were 6th. The only two teams who did not have a player in the Pro Bowl is the Miami Dolphins and the New York Giants. That is right. Even the worst team in the league, the Cincinnati Bengals, have somebody in the Pro Bowl. What the fuck?
What would that be?
I actually got to look, so give me a second.
I'm looking.
It's probably the running back, most likely. Unfortunately, ESPN does not. Or maybe okay, here it is. And actually, so who did Cincinnati get? I have a feeling it's the running back. Who is it then?
I'm looking at a running back right now.
Okay, it's Geno Atkins, defensive tackle.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So there's that. Now, a lot of people wanted to know my opinion about this. Dak Prescott did not make the Pro Bowl, which he should not have. But I'm going to be honest here. I don't think Aaron Rodgers should have made it either.
Yeah.
To me personally, if I was voting for the 3 quarterbacks in the NFL, in the NFC, because the AFC I agree with. The NFC, I'd probably put Drew Brees as 1. No argument there. Jimmy Garoppolo would be 2nd, and then Kirk Cousins would be 3rd. Again, that's just my opinion. Those are my.
What about Russell Wilson?
You know, with Russell Wilson, I'm honest. If it's between him and Jimmy Garoppolo, I could see it. But I just feel like, Kirk Cousins had to be in there. He should have been in there, and I think Jimmy should have been as well. I'm not going to argue the Russell Wilson one, but if it was me personally, those were my 3. The only one I really have a problem with is Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Aaron Rodgers has done enough stat-wise this year to be. Yes, he's on a winning team, but
The winning team is pretty shady.
Shady, yeah. So that's just me on that one. Even the Colts had 2 people in the going to the Pro Bowl as well. So
I'm assuming it's probably. Let me go back. It's probably. Fucking. How's his name? Quentin Nelson. Yeah.
Also, in other news, Suggs is now at Kansas City Chiefs after he was as he was picked up on waivers. So he didn't go to Baltimore like you wanted, but he is on the Chiefs. So you guys will get to probably face him in the playoffs. Have fun with that. Let's see. The Raiders will be shorthanded this week as they lost running back Jacobs and right tackle Brown, and Coughlin is out of Jacksonville. This is when I wanted to do a key eye on thing. Jacksonville did fire Tom Coughlin yesterday, just days after the NFL Players Association warning to players. So apparently the NFL Players Association was telling players to be warned about the Jaguars for some reason. I don't know why.